Howdy folks, Max Caveman here, bringing you back to my TCG Victory Road for the 2025 World Championship Series. In this video, I will be breaking down the results that I have here for the first cup for West Australia. So this event was held in Rockingham at the Good Game store. I was running back Regidrago again. I just needed something that I needed, that I had confidence in, and having been doing quite well with it, I thought this was probably the best option. Now these are best of 3, so let's get into it. So starting off with round number 1, I was facing off against Boltpon. This is the Raging Bolt Teal Mask Ogerpon deck that utilizes the Bellowing Thunder attack to do massive amounts of damage quite consistently. We had game 1 starting off fairly strongly for me. My opponent just simply struggled to get any energies out of the deck, struggled to get a board set up. Ultimately winning game 1 simply because they just had nothing. Game 2 started, and they started with the Cornerstone mask, not the Teal mask that is usually out on the field. So they were hard bricking game 2 as well. I actually had to 2-turn take the knockout on the Cornerstone because of its ability not being hit by rule boxes, and the only non-rule box attacker in my my Regidrago list that you can see below is the Regidrago V. So I had to attack with that rather than using the VSTAR like you normally do. So the game was slow enough that I could 2-turn the Cornerstone, and then that was simply that. I could evolve up and get the game. So yeah, I end up winning 2-0 in round number 1. Moving on to round number 2, we are facing off against another Boltpon. This is, I believe it was almost an identical list to round 1. So definitely I knew what I was doing. So definitely took the lock. I could set up a bunch of things. Was always worried about that Cornerstone hitting the field, getting to the active and slowing things down, but I could simply go covert flight while getting set up, and in game number 1, so I could lock down my opponent. They couldn't hit me. Managed to use an Airy at a pivotal moment. I can't remember if it was game 1 or 2, but I managed to rip the Prime Catcher out of their hand, which really saved me tremendously, so that was good. During game 2, it was slow, would be the best descriptor. Ultimately, game 2 did come to a tie. So because I had won game 1, I won the set at 1-0. Definitely a interesting thing. Just not enough energies, really. I believe I was also dragon starved, not having any dragons in the discard. I know that happened in one game. I can't remember off the top of my head now. But yeah. So moving on to round 3, I was feeling good. I was 2-0 at this point, and I was facing off against someone else who was 2-0, and it was against Lugia Archeops. Lugia Archeops, if you're not familiar, is basically you can get 2, ideally you get 2 Archeops from the discard using the Lugia V-Star's ability, V-Star ability to get the 2 Pokemon back onto the field. So use that and then get a whole bunch of special energies from the discard back onto your Pokemon. So seeing this, I knew very early on they set up a Minccino on the board, and I knew that I needed to take that out. I had the perfect opportunity to take out both the Lugia and a Minccino on the bench. However, Minccino had the mist energy on it, which meant that I would not be able to use Phantom Dive to attack it on the bench, simply because it was protected by thanks to the energy. And if I had have taken that knockout, this game would have gone in a completely different way. Very easily, my opponent was able to maneuver my cards around so that they could attack using the Lugia V STAR, taking knockouts on the lower HP mons, such as just the Teal Ogerpon, just the Regidrago V, or Mew or Squawkabilly, depending on what was out. They could just bring the lower HP guys out into the active, and then that was it. And then swing with the Minccino for enough damage. When I had, I would use Rolling Iron to try and buff up my HP pool, technically, for a turn. So, end up getting O2'd. It was similar strategies both games. Yeah, just the Lugia hit hard and fast. Moving on to round 4. I am facing off against Ancient Box. So this matchup is the same opponent from the previous challenge, challenge number 2. I faced him. Now this was a best of 3, so I definitely knew that I had to try my hardest. So definitely I struggled, just simply due to the fact that my opponent got so many ancient cards into the discard early and consistently both games, that they were able to quite comfortably damage all of my 2-turn my guys. I wasn't able to get a second Regidrago V attackable fast enough, and even just simply potentially attacking with a Teal Ogerpon, it just needed a little bit more health to survive. Now, in game 2, I did get a double prize penalty issued on me. So I had activated a Carmine early game 2, and I accidentally drew a 6th card, forcing my opponent to take 2 less prize cards. Ultimately, that was a very big deal. I had a potential line to play out. I was setting up basically a 2-turn or 2 or 3-turn game win. However, because of the 2 prize penalty, that plan was kind of screwed over. So I ended up losing both games. So I went 0-2. So yeah, definitely not the best. I knew what happened. It was a simple thing. It is always annoying when you have these double price penalties when you have a way to get that card anyway. If you accidentally draw that card, but then you have an ability to draw that extra card, it still counts as a double price penalty. It's annoying. I understand it's to be as harsh as possible so we don't have these consistently, but it is what it is. So moving on to the final round of Swiss. Now, I did fail to mention that we had 28 Masters at this Cup. Now, the cutoff for 6 rounds, I believe, was 33, and that would have been top 16 points as well. That's another thing. So moving on, we are facing off against my third Bolt Pond player of the day, and it was simple. I definitely knew what I needed to do. Game 1, getting the Phantom Dives out early, and then, well, doing Phantom Dives and Covert Flights, just slowing my opponent's potential, just really paid off and ended up giving me Game 1. Game 2 was very close. We got to almost deck out, just the last couple of cards, and then yeah, just the game completely slowed right down to the point where I needed. I went to attack using Bellowing Thunder and discarded the wrong energies for the attack. I knew I had 1 energy remaining, and I had countered. I checked over everything, thought I knew what it was, realized afterwards, because I knew it was in prizes, and I had a 2 in 3 chance of getting the energy that was missing. I didn't count which energy it was. So I discarded the grass energy from my active when I should have discarded a fire energy, and I took the fire energy off prizes and realized my mistake, which actually cost me the game. And then moving on to Game 3 quickly, we were getting set up. I had a brilliant start setting up, and my opponent didn't realize how close it was to time. I didn't realize he could have pushed for a tie and ultimately conceded just before time was called, and we did realize just after, but we had basically scooped up. So Game 3 did go to me. It feels like it shouldn't have gone to me, but that's what happened at the time, so that's what we are dealing with. So I end up going 2-1 in that last game. So overall, I went, in 5 rounds, I went 3-2, and 3-2 was just outside of top 8. Top 8 for this event was a 3-1-1 clean cut. We end up with 3 players on 9 points, which is a 3-2 or a 2-0-3, which did actually happen. So that was very interesting seeing that. But even if a 9-point result happened, I wouldn't have got in because I was the lowest in the 9-point bracket. So even if it was available, it wasn't there. So yeah, sadly, didn't get any points because of it was the top 8 only points. So yeah, 11th out of 28 players. I did well. Definitely should have placed a little bit lower, considering what happened in the last round, but that's how things happen sometimes. You fail to take full consideration of time, so that was just good to see. But that being said, hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you have a better understanding of certain matchups. But that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully I'll see you again next time. But until then, have a good one, folks.